Now that we've talked a little bit about the basics of setting up your B-roll, about kind of the basics of editing B-roll, now we're gonna get a little bit more specific and a little bit more, we're gonna put like some tools in the toolbox, I guess is the best way to put it. So these are things that you can pull out, some different little techniques or some different little edits that you can do that just kind of take your video, that B-roll section to the next level, kind of makes people say wow, or kind of just gives it a little bit more of excitement. So let's start by watching the B-roll clip that we edited in the last video. Okay, so that's gonna be the intro to our video. And there's a few things that I wanna do. The shots are really nice. I really like how it all flows. Starts off at the ground, goes up in the air, then comes back down to the ground. But there's a few things that I wanna do. So the first thing in this first clip, this one here, we're gonna do something that's called a Ken Burns. This is the name of it in Final Cut Pro. So what it is it's basically a zoom in or a zoom out. You can choose which way you want it to go. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to the clip and I'm gonna apply a Ken Burns. So it's gonna zoom in. So you can see the red is where it starts and the green is where it ends. I'm actually gonna go in even a little bit closer than that. And let's move here so I can see. So now watch this clip with the Ken Burns. I'm sorry, I did that backwards. Let me go here. Sorry, it wants to start out wide, it wants to end in close. So now it's gonna zoom in. So now watch this clip. So I really like how it kind of like zooms in like that. It just gives it another, I don't know, it almost gives it like a 3D feel to me. And then it goes down to the ground. So there's a few things that I like to do when I go from a shot that kind of is of the sky and then to the ground. I like to almost make it feel like the camera's going up, like it's looking up at the sky, and then it goes down. So let me show you kind of what I do. So we have this Ken Burns effect on this, and we're gonna use Ken Burns again. All I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select 3 frames. So I do that by using my arrow keys. I believe this is universal across all editing softwares. So I'm just gonna move left 3 frames. 1, 2, 3. Right? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, you can see where the clip changes there. So it's 1, 2, 3 clips over, and I'm gonna cut it. So now it's a new clip. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do another Ken Burns. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have it start out wide, and then it's gonna go down. So the feeling is that the camera's kind of going, it's zooming in, and then it goes down, and it's gonna go to the next clip. So watch. You see how it like, you see that effect right there? It kind of just gives it another little, it almost makes it feel like it's the same camera. And it's just a good way to blend 2 different clips together. You don't want to do it too much or it starts to feel cheesy, but sometimes it just like catches people off guard. It's just like, you know, you just do it every once in a while. So then it goes into us on the ground here. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave all these clips alone. I'm gonna leave all these clips alone, and I'm going to do their inverse. So before we went kind of from the sky down to the ground, and now I'm gonna do from the ground up to the sky. So you can see this drone shot, so I'm gonna do the same thing, 3 clips. 1, 2, 3. And I'm gonna cut it, and then I'm gonna do Ken Burns again. But this time I'm gonna start, you'll see the green arrow, the green box is where we start. So I'm gonna start down at the ground, and then it's gonna zoom out. So you can kind of place it where you want. I'm just going down to the ground here, and then it's just gonna zoom back. So let's just take a look at it to see how it looks. So it's okay it's okay. I think I'm gonna change the position of it a little bit because it almost just feels like it's a zoom out. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move the start all the way down to the bottom. So it feels more like it's going up. It feels more like the camera's moving up like that rather than just zooming out. So like that. So the next thing that I want to do is really want to do something with this clip. When you have these long sweeping shots like that go in, there's a lot that you can do. And this is kind of like part of the process. Like you need to watch the clip and be like, I want to do something with that. I don't really know what I want to do yet. So you watch it a few times. You might notice. So I think what I'm going to do is at that point right there, I'm going to speed ramp it, which is, we talked about this in an earlier lesson. Speed ramping is when the video either speeds up or slows down suddenly. So I like to do it on a beat. So right when the beat hits, it speeds up, or right when the beat hits, it slows down. If you remember, we did it at this part. If you watch the foot here, see it slows down there? So that is kind of what we're going to do with this. So what we'll do is so what I want to do is it's going to be fast, and then it's going to slow down. And then at the same time, I'm going to apply Ken Burns so it also zooms out. And it's going to give it this really cool 3D effect. Just kind of try to follow along with this. You'll get a better feeling when I'm done. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to speed ramp it. So we want to go fast to slow, and we want to slow down right where this yellow line is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do custom. I'm going to go maybe like 700%. And this is going to force us to have to make this clip bigger. Let's see what we have here. Okay. So right there is where we're going to have it go back to normal speed. So we have it at 700%. You can see it's flying. Watch. Right there. All right, my SD card just got full, so I'm sorry there's a little jump in here. It took a little while to unload all the footage, so I don't exactly remember where I left off. But I know we were editing this clip. We were working on the speed ramp. So let's just play this so you guys can get an idea what the speed ramp looks like. You might notice. So you see there how it slows down like that? You might. That's the speed ramp, so it goes fast and slows down. Now I'm going to do one more thing. Because the shot looks like this, from this side. The shot comes in and then stops like that. So what I'm going to do, this is the only way I can explain it is with my hands like this, is the shot is going to come into here, and before it's, right as it's from the point it slows down to the beginning, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do another Ken Burns that we talked about earlier, and it's going to zoom out. So it's going to look like the camera's always here, so it's always going to look here, but it's going to almost warp the background. So check this out. So I'm going to come here on the video clip, and I'm going to blade it. So this is my sped up part, and you can see it starts like here looking down, and then it ends there looking at the volcano. So what I'm going to do is all I'm going to do is apply a Ken Burns to this part, and I'm going to have it start zoomed in, and it's going to zoom out. And because the camera's kind of doing this motion, I'm going to have the Ken Burns follow that same motion. So check this out. So it's going to start there, and then it's going to zoom out. At the same time, the camera's zooming out while the drone goes in. So it looks like the camera's going to be stable, but it's going to change the perception. So just watch this clip here. You ready? You see how it almost makes the landscape look warped? Watch one more time. Oh, sorry, it froze there. One more time. just need to get the timing just a little bit better because for some reason it's come out of time. So I'm just gonna get right there. Let's try that. You might notice. So if you see, I really like that. I think it like gives almost like a wow factor. It's like, wow, what just happened? It's like the whole, like the landscape like warps. Let's watch the landscape here. See, and then just like stops right as that hit comes in, right as this click comes in, it stops. So those are the kind of things I like to do. I always edit to the music. The music dictates the edit for me. And I think that's really important. So let's just take a minute and we'll watch this whole clip and you'll get an idea of where this thing started at the beginning of the video and how just adding a couple little things really makes it so much better. Notice. So you can see just those couple little edits. It really gives it that wow factor. I'm actually just going to do one more little thing. I'm going to do the same effect with the Ken Burns, where because it goes from the sky, way up in the sky, and then all of a sudden it's on the ground, I just want that Ken Burns to ease that gap. So it's going to go zoom into the ground right as we start talking. So it almost looks like the camera's up high and it goes right into our face. So you guys saw that earlier. It was just a really easy edit. Ken Burns, and this is going to have a different name on different editing softwares. I wish I could label them all off for you, but this effect is very, very popular. So it's going to be in basically every editing software that you get. So you can see where it starts, and then it's going to zoom in down low. Again, I always do 3 frames for this. So there's the whole shot. Bam! It zooms in down to the farm where we are. So let's just watch this through. One more time. I want to see if there's any other little things. When I was looking, I was thinking, oh, no, I think that's good. Let's just watch this through one more time so you guys can see what the final product is. Notice we're not in our bus. So you see, that's like such an exciting way I feel like to start off a video. Gives it a little bit of music. Then what I already know what I'm gonna do is we don't have the drop of that music, right? Like the big exciting like chorus of the music. It's just about to come in. So we're gonna do a little talking part, and then I know at some point in the video, wherever like the climax or the next exciting part is, bam, it's gonna hit with that music and it brings it back, like brings it full circle, because you're getting that chorus that it's just like cutting you off from. So like the viewer is expecting there to be this big exciting like something, it just cuts to us talking. So that's kind of how I like to edit, and this is just some examples of how I edit our videos. So we've talked about like setting up the B-roll, we've talked about Ken Burns, we've done a little speed ramping. That's kind of like a good couple little tools to put in your toolbox, some things for you to try in the beginning. They're not that complicated, but I'm going to tell you, it's going to take a little bit of time at first. But you'll get used to that. You're going to learn it, and then you're going to get faster and faster and faster. And you'll say, bam, I want a Ken Burns. You put it in. You say, bam, I want to crop in and crop out. It's in. It takes 2 or 3 seconds. The first time might take a few minutes. For me, sometimes it even took an hour. So just got to be patient.